Have you ever noticed how some of your top salespeople just don't really fit that like stereotypical extrovert mold?
Yeah.
It's something that I feel like sales leaders have been kind of grappling with,
Oh,
for ages,
Right.
forever.
Right.
And there's actually research from Wharton professor Adam Grant
Oh, wow.
that found that ambiverts,
Okay.
so those who kind of seamlessly blend those extroverted and introverted traits,
Right.
they actually are the ones that outperform both extremes in sales.
Interesting.
So today we're going to deep dive into this idea using an article from the Sales Experts blog.
Okay.
It's called, "Do Extroverts Really Sell Better Than Introverts?"
Catchy title.
Yeah. And we're going to try to unpack some of the insights that you, as sales leaders, hiring managers, and executives, can use to really build a powerful sales team.
I think this research really challenges like a lot of our assumptions, right? About what makes a great salesperson.
Yeah.
It kind of throws a wrench in our conventional thinking.
Absolutely. We always hear about you have to be outgoing, you have to be assertive.
Right.
But the Sales Experts article highlights those classic strengths.
Okay.
You know, high energy. They talk about being comfortable networking, thinking on your feet.
Yeah. Yeah, those are all like, the hallmarks of the classic salesperson.
But do you think those are always advantages?
Well, I mean, they can be valuable,
Yeah.
especially, in like fast-paced sales environments.
Right.
But sometimes I think they can backfire.
Okay.
Like imagine an overly enthusiastic extrovert.
Yeah.
They might overwhelm a prospect
Totally.
who, prefers a more measured approach.
Right.
So it's not always a guarantee.
Yeah, it's about reading the room, right?
Absolutely.
Understanding your client
Yeah.
and their personality.
And being able to adapt.
And adapting your style.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where those ambiverts really come in.
They really shine. The sales experts, they talk about how ambiverts have this unique ability to adapt their approach
Yeah.
depending on the situation and
Right.
who they're talking to.
It's about being flexible.
It is, yes.
It's not about being one or the other. It's
Yeah.
about being able to kind of move between those two.
Exactly.
Now, the article also talks about the strengths of introverts,
Oh, yeah.
which I think are often overlooked.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Introverts tend to be incredible listeners.
Really good listeners.
Yeah, and I think,
Not just waiting for their turn to speak.
it's not about, just waiting to jump
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
They actually want to understand.
I want to hear what you have to say.
They want to hear
Yeah.
what the prospect needs and what their concerns are.
I think we've all been in those sales conversations where we felt like we weren't really heard.
Oh, yeah.
Like you're just waiting to like get to their pitch, you know?
Exactly. You just feel like a number. Just another sale.
Yeah.
Introverts, I think they excel at creating a sense of partnership,
Okay.
building those long-term relationships.
And the sales experts talk about that being a major advantage, right?
Absolutely.
Especially in those complex sales situations.
Where trust is really key.
So we're kind of seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
The ambiverts have that natural flexibility, and then the introverts
They're good at building that trust.
by listening.
Having that mix on your team, I think, is really powerful.
I think it's a game changer.
It is.
So it's not just about hiring a bunch of extroverts and just
Hoping for the best.
crossing your fingers, hoping it all works out.
Look at the nuances,
Right.
the personality.
I'm curious,
Yeah.
what are some practical things that like our listeners, sales leaders, hiring managers
Yeah.
can take away and use for their own teams?
Well, I mean, the sales experts have some really good advice
Okay.
that we can unpack. After the break, we can get into those.
So you're saying building a team with diverse personality types.
Yeah.
Ambiverts, introverts, alongside the extroverts
You really, make a difference.
can really boost those sales numbers.
Yeah.
Now, the Sales Experts blog,
Mm-hmm.
they actually have a really interesting piece of advice.
Okay.
They suggest that we encourage extroverts to actually practice active listening.
Well, that's interesting.
Seems kind of counterintuitive.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they're so outgoing.
Right.
But, I mean, do you think that's really important for them?
I think it's crucial.
Okay.
I mean, even though they're naturally outgoing,
Right.
they have to really tune in to what the prospect is saying.
So it's not just about hearing the words.
It's about understanding
Yeah.
the needs, the emotions,
The stuff that's not being said.
the unspoken things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, that's good advice for anyone, really.
It is.
Not just extroverts.
But for them especially.
Yeah, because they might be tempted to,
Dominate the conversation.
take over.
Yeah.
The sales experts also suggest that extroverts really focus on building deeper relationships.
Okay.
So instead of just going for the quick close,
Yeah.
it's more that long game approach.
That's a good way to put it.
It's about building that trust and that loyalty,
Mm.
which leads to,
Repeat business referral.
yeah, long-term clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shifting the mindset,
Right.
not just looking at it as a transaction,
It's about building a relationship.
but a relationship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where I think, the introverts really come in.
Okay. Yeah.
They're really good at building that rapport.
Right.
And creating a sense of trust.
The sales experts even suggest that introverted salespeople should really try to seek out networking opportunities, which I think is a great point.
Yeah.
Networking can be so valuable
It is.
for building relationships.
Generating leads.
Yeah.
It's a great way to connect.
But,
I feel like for introverts who are more comfortable in those one-on-one settings, the thought of
going to a conference?
going to a huge industry event.
Yeah, it can be a little daunting.
Yeah, intimidating.
The sales experts, though,
Yeah.
they make a really good point.
Okay.
Stepping outside of your comfort zone
Right.
is so important.
It's an investment.
It is.
Yeah.
Investing in your own career growth.
And networking's not just about socializing.
Right.
It's about being strategic.
Building those relationships.
Those relationships that can really benefit your career.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for introverts, I think the sales experts also suggest
Okay.
to really highlight those strengths.
Like what?
Their preparation. They tend to be very thorough.
Attention to detail.
They really connect with their clients.
Those are all such valuable assets
They are.
in sales.
They are.
It's about showcasing those things
Yeah.
that might not be, as flashy.
Right. It's not the charisma.
Right. But it's just as important.
It all leads back to this idea that the sales experts talk about,
Yeah.
that the best salespeople
Regardless of personality.
are defined by their results.
Yes.
It's not about fitting into that mold.
It's about performance.
It's about being effective.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why
And this is why a diverse sales team is so important.
it is.
You have all these different personality types, different approaches, different strengths.
It just increases your chances of success.
It's like having a diverse toolkit.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
The right tool for the job.
Now, the sales experts also touch on some other important skills
Yeah.
that contribute to sales success.
Things like empathy.
Adaptability.
Yeah.
I mean, those are really crucial, right?
They're essential.
Empathy allows you to connect with the client
Yeah.
and really understand their needs.
And then tailor your solutions.
And adaptability, I mean, we've been talking about that. Being able to kind of, adjust gears based on who you're talking to.
And those are all skills that can be learned, right?
But they can be honed
Yeah.
regardless of your personality.
So sales leaders should be focusing on developing these skills.
Exactly, through training, coaching.
Empower your salespeople.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a shift.
From just hiring based on personality
And train.
to training for skills
Right.
and adaptability.
That's fascinating.
It's about building those high-performing teams.
The sales experts, they leave us with a really thought-provoking question, though.
Yeah.
They really challenge us to think about how we define success.
They do.
We've been talking about how the sales experts are saying we need to, move beyond just hiring extroverts.
Right.
Look for adaptable team members
Easily.
with a variety of strengths.
It's not one size fits all.
But they really challenge us
Yeah.
to think about how we define success.
They do. They say that the best salespeople aren't defined by their personality type,
Okay.
but by their results.
Which, I mean,
It makes you think.
it makes you stop and think.
Yeah.
Because we have this idea of,
Right, you have to be this type.
this is what a salesperson is.
that mold.
And it's not always the case.
And it forces us to think about, how are we measuring that success?
Are we just looking at
the bottom line?
the number of deals closed?
Or are we really trying to understand
What's driving those sales?
what are those behaviors and strategies?
It's more than just the numbers.
It's the skills that are contributing to those wins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we need to look at
Are we tracking those active listening skills?
how's the client relationship.
How prepared are they for those interactions?
It's a more holistic view of sales success.
It is.
Looking at the process,
The whole picture.
not just the outcome.
And when you do that,
Yeah,
you start to see those hidden talents
Okay.
within your team,
you can really see those individual strengths.
how the different personality types can work together.
Create a culture where everyone can contribute.
It doesn't matter if you're an extrovert or an introvert.
Sales success isn't about fitting into a box.
It's about embracing those differences.
This deep dive has been
so insightful.
so interesting.
I've learned a lot.
And I think we've really uncovered some really great insights
for our listeners
to help them build more effective teams.
So as we wrap up, I encourage you to really think about these ideas.
Analyze your team.
Evaluate those metrics.
See how you can create a culture
that embraces diversity
and fosters growth.
Because sales success,
it's not about personality type.
It's about results.
And those results come from skills,
strategies,
and continuous improvement.
So keep those sales soaring.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next time.